Hello, my wonderful friends of EasyMathsTutor. Welcome once again to such a lovely opportunity to speak with you guys. Hello to all our maths lovers out there. My name is Jyro, and I want to take us on another session of our JAMB preparatory classes. So I'm going to take some topics. I'm going to solve some questions. So just follow right along. Make sure you have your paper, your pen, and take notes while this lesson is going on. I'm going to answer a question. This is one of the questions I found in 2006 question. So it goes like this. Find the tax on income of $20,000. If no tax is paid on the first, $10,000, and tax is paid at $50 per $1,000 on the next $5,000 and at $55 on $1,000 on the remainder. Now, in answering a question, it's very key that you understand what the question is all about and know exactly what it's talking about. Just assume you have a game, you're playing a game of chess, right? Now the aim of playing that game of chess is to try and get the king of your opponent. This is a game. Let's assume this is a game, right? And then our target is to find the tax on income of this amount, all right? Now it's almost like a fraction, right? A fraction problem. Now we have $20,000. That is the whole sum. That is the 1/1. That is the whole figure, $20,000. If no tax is paid on the first 10,000, now we know that 10,000 of 20,000 is like half of the whole sum. So the question says no tax was paid on the first part, which is 10,000, and then tax was paid on some parts, the remaining parts of the sum, which is 20,000, right? Now, what tax was paid? According to the question, tax is paid at $50 per 1,000 on the next 5,000. That means if you remove 10,000 from 20,000, what you have left? You have 10,000 left, right? That is the remaining half of the whole sum left. Now, that half of the whole sum left, we are told that $50 was paid on every 1,000 of that 5,000, right? Which is also another kind of fraction, all right? And then the remaining 5,000 left of this full sum, $55 was paid for each $1,000. So what is the income tax? It's very simple and very straightforward. Based on what I explained, it's very simple and very straightforward. So what do? We say solution, right? Solution. Remember, this is a JAMB examination and you won't have so much time to write solution and all that. So on your rough sheet, after you have analyzed it, first of all, we know that the total sum is what? $20,000. All right? And then we know that no tax was paid on $10,000. So the remaining of 10,000 is what? Of 20,000 is what? $10,000, right? This is the remaining. All right? So now we're told that for this sum, part of it, which is 5,000, we're asked to pay $50 per 1,000. So how many 1,000 do we have in 5,000? We have 5. We have 5 what? $1,000 in 5,000. Right? Is that clear? Okay. So 50 per 1,000 means for each 1,000 we paid $50. Therefore, for the 5 1,000s, we will pay $250 what? That's for the first part of the paid tax. Now for the second part of the tax, they were asked to pay, the second part of the tax is what? 5,000. It remained 5,000, right? And we also know that we have 5 1,000s there as well. But we know we paid what? $55 per 1,000. So 55 times 5 is what? We say 55 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25, carry 2. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 2, right? 5 times 5, 25 plus 2 give us 27. So we have $275 of tax was paid for the remaining part. So how do we get the total tax paid? We're going to sum up these two. We'll add up these two, right? So 250 plus 275 will give us what? 525. So the total amount of tax that was paid was $525. So what option do we find that? We find that in the D option. So our D option is correct. The next question says evaluate a number, a function, right? It is 2 all over 6 minus 5 root 3. Now this function is also known as a surd. We call it a surd. Any number you see with the square root sign is known as a surd. A mixed number or a mixed fraction with a square root sign is known as a surd. So when we have this number, this kind of number, it's a complex irrational number. And they say evaluate, right? These are options A, B, C, and D, all right? So to evaluate this surd means to make it look simpler or to give it a different look. Now, how do we do that? We're going to rationalize this surd. How do we rationalize this surd? It's simple and straightforward, okay? So listen carefully. Listen carefully. So solution. We'll say we'll rationalize the surd. That's 2. That's 2 all over 6 minus 5 root 3. What do we rationalize? It means we'll multiply the numerator and the denominator with a conjugate. A conjugate is the opposite of a number. A conjugate is the opposite of a complex surd. The conjugate of this denominator is 6 plus 5 root 3. This denominator is 6 minus 5 root 3. Therefore, its conjugate is 6 plus 5 root 3. So, rationalize it using its conjugate, right? We know that its conjugate is 6 plus 5 root 3. So how do we go about that? We'll say 2 all over 6 minus 5 root 3 times 6 plus 5 root 3. Follow me? Don't lose me here, because this is how to rationalize a surd. As simple as this. Alright? So, we're multiplying the numerator with this and the denominator with this. Remember, these two can cancel out to give 1. Alright? So it's not having any negative effect or adverse effect on this function. This is 1. Right? 6 plus 5 root 3 all over 6 plus 5 root 3 is 1. Okay? So we're just using it to help us to express and evaluate this function. So let's go right ahead to evaluate this. What do? We will say 2 bracket 6 plus 5 root 3 all over 6 minus 5 root 3 bracket 6 plus 5 root 3. Okay? Hope you can see that clearly. Okay, so if you look at it clearly, let's multiply the top, right? So we have 2 times 6. 2 times 6. 2 times 6 gives you 12, right? 2 times 5 root 3 gives us what? Plus, don't forget to put the plus, 10 root 3, okay? So now, we're left with the denominator, and we have to what? We'll have to expand the denominator. We have 6 times this minus 5 root 3 times this, right? So we'll say 6. Let's do it straight away without wasting time. Remember, you're doing your JAMB examination. You won't have time to do all the nitty-gritty, okay? So you just try as much as possible to shorten the solution. So what do? We'll say 6 times 6. The first 6 times this function. Now 6 times 6 gives us what? 36. 6 times plus 5 root 3 gives us plus 30 root 3. Minus 5 root 3 times 6 will give us minus 30 root 3. Okay? Minus 5 root 3 times 5 root 3. Now, let's go to this side and simplify it. Minus 5 root 3 times 5 root 3. Okay? How do we simplify it? As simple as this. 5 times 5 gives us 25. Root 3 times root 3 gives us 3. So 25 times root 3 gives us what? 3 times 5, 15. 75. Gives us 75. So we'll say is what? Sorry, remember there's a minus. So this will be minus 75. Alright? Let me clean this up quickly so we can continue. So now the numerator is 12 plus 10 root 3. Alright? Then the denominator. This will cancel this, right? Giving us 0. These two numbers are the same. So if they subtract each other, they cancel out. Then we have 36 minus 75. How do we do that? We'll subtract 75 minus 36. Giving us what? 39. So because it's minus 75, our answer will be minus 39. So we'll say minus 39. Alright? So we have our answer here. Since we have a common denominator, we'll have 12 all over minus 39 minus, okay, let's say plus 10 root 3 over 30 minus 39, okay? So, if we bring out the minus, we'll have minus into bracket 12 over 39 plus 10 root 3 over 39. So, that's our answer. So, if you look up at the options, let's look at the options. These are the options, right? I think our correct answer will be C. That's our correct answer. Aren't you happy about that? Aren't you happy about it? So I want to talk to us about surds. What are surds? Surds are irrational numbers. It's mostly made up of a square root of a number that does not have a whole number square root, right? Most times the square root of that number is always in decimals, maybe a whole number in the decimal. So we just represent that number in square roots, and this helps us to manipulate these numbers. So when you see surds, it's easy for you to know how to go about working with them. Solving surds involve finding the conjugate of the surds and also rationalizing the denominator of these surds. So, surds is something we will meet along the line, whether you're in the medical field or you're in biological field or engineering or wherever. So long as you have to take statistics, you have to solve formulas, equations, you're going to meet them along the way. So let's go right ahead and equations. So let's move on to our next question. And so you're welcome to the third question. So it reads, simplify, remember it's a JAMB past question, simplify 25 raised to power minus 1 over 2 times 27 raised to power 1 over 3 plus 121 raised to power 1 over 2 times 625 raised to power minus 1 over 4. All right. So now I'm seeing a mixture of indices, exponential problems, and mathematical operations, which include BODMAS. All right. So remember, in BODMAS, you have to solve the bracket BODMAS of the division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Bracket of division, multiplication, add, and subtract. Okay, so that's how to solve a problem with several mathematical operations. Okay, so what do we have here? Remember, these are the options A, B, C, and D. Okay, so I think I'll look at the multiplication part first of all. Okay, but before that, I'll try to break this down into a smaller lowest common factor. Okay, I'll break this down also. I'll try to break this down. Okay, and I'll also break this down. So solution. In fact, as I've seen it, I'm already seeing the answer. So remember, when you're doing your JAMB examination, try to solve the simple ones first. Go through all the simple questions. At least we'll have over 60% of the questions will be simpler. Don't start with the difficult questions, because if you start with the difficult questions, it will waste your time. All right? If you have enough time left, you could answer the difficult questions. So let's start. We know that 25 will be 5 raised to power 2. 25 is the same thing as 5 raised to power 2. So we're going to put that into the bracket. All right? We know that 27 is what? Take a guess quickly. 27 is 3 raised to power 3. Let's check it out. 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 gives us 9 times 3 gives us what? 27. 1 over 3. Plus, right? 121 is 11 raised to power 2. We'll put the exponential right there. And then we have 625. 625 is the same thing as what? 5 raised to power 4 minus 1 over 4. Are we getting it? I'm very sure. So now we're still working on the brackets, right? Remember, the multiplication law of indices means that if you see a bracket between two exponentials, you can multiply them, okay? We can multiply these two. So let's assume this is 2 times half. What do we have? 2 times minus half will give us minus 1, okay? Now for this other side, 3 times 1 over 3 will give us 1, all right? For this other side, 2 times minus 1 over 2 will give us minus 1. 4 times minus 1 over 4 will give us minus 1. So our answers are popping up already. So we have 5 raised to power minus 1 times 3 plus is raised to power 1. So we won't write it because 1 is always invisible. right? We have 11 raised to the power minus 1 times 5 raised to the power minus 1 times 5 raised to the power minus 1. So now in our BODMAS operations, we have the multiplication before the division. So we're going to tackle everything that has multiplication first before we go to the plus sign, all right? So if we tackle this, what are we going to have? Remember, 5 raised to the power minus 1 is the same thing as 1 is the same thing. Remember, 5 raised to the power minus 1 is the same thing as 1 over 5 times 3, right? Times 3. 11 raised to the power minus 1 is the same thing as 1 over 11 times 1 over 5 here. So let's further simplify this. So further simplifying will give us 3 over 5 plus 1 over 55. 11 times 5 gives us what? 55, right? So the LCM of this is 55, right? 55 divided by 5 is 11 times 3, 33. 55 divided by 55 is 1 times 1. So our answer will be 34 over 55. So if you look here, I can see the answer popping up here already. Our answer is A. Thank you for watching. See you on our next video. Thank you for subscribing to this channel, and make sure you keep coming back for more interesting videos on EasyMathsTutor. Bye to all our maths lovers. God bless you and see you next time. Love you.